This? This used to be a Nerf gun. Doesn't look like one, does it? Huh. I'm going to show you how I painted it. Hello YouTube, and may the 4th be with you. And on this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how I painted this Nerf Mandalorian rifle. The first step is, of course, the prep work. Using sandpaper, I'm going to shave off the raised lettering. Here, I'm using 220 grit sandpaper, but I think a more rough sandpaper would have been better. You could use a power tool, but in my opinion, you'll always have more control when using your hands. I then used a more fine grit sandpaper to smooth out what I already sanded. Once the branding has been removed, I lightly sanded the entire blaster. This will provide a better surface for the paint to stay on. Once sanding is finished, it's time to address those pesky screws. To get a cleaner look, I will be using a 2-part epoxy putty to hide those exposed screws. For this putty, you cut off a small section and knead it together. Once fully cured, the putty will be sandable. Again, this step is optional, but it will help with the overall look in the end. Once the screws have been hidden, it's time to prime. Majority of the time, I will use a flat black spray primer, and this is no exception. Whenever spray painting, be sure to be in a well-ventilated area and wear a respirator. It's very tempting to just aim the nozzle down and spray away, but that won't give you the best results. Instead, use smooth sweeping motions to achieve good coverage, as well as multiple light coats. Here, you can see that it barely looks like I did anything. It's important to be gentle with spray paint. You can easily add more layers, and it will be more difficult on you if you choose to rush. Take your time and slowly build up the layers. You'll notice that I actually did not disassemble this blaster. Not everyone is comfortable with taking things apart, so I'm deciding to keep it all in one piece. That being said, there will be parts, like these orange areas, that need to be specifically addressed later on. And 3 to 5 coats later, and it's time to bring it back indoors. You may have noticed the stock looks a bit brown. During the priming phase, I made sure to only use light coats on the stock. The original plastic was already a nice brown color, and I wanted to maintain that color. This will help in the later painting stages. Now it's time to paint. The main painting technique that I like to utilize for this type of work is dry brushing. Using a brush, I only use a small amount of paint. This will allow some of the paint color to peek through. In this case, the color silver and black will work together. Your own personal creativity will guide you in this direction of how you want it to look. Once I finish with the silver, I apply the same technique with the gold. The gold really makes the lines pop and gives a cool effect. I did the same thing for the brown paint shown here. Oh, I almost forgot about that tuning fork. There we go. At this point, I have the main colors blocked out. It's now time for detail painting and weathering. This part was really fun. Using metallic blue, purple, pink, and gold acrylic paints, I gently dab away. This lets me blend the colors a little more easily when compared to a traditional paint stroke. I got a little sloppy at the end, so I come back and tidy up some edges with the black paint. Now this was one of my favorite parts. Using the same metallic colors from before, I brush on a layer of purple and pink. I even add some gold and smudge it with my fingers. Adding on the blue near the end really adds the effect of burnt metal. And here's what we have so far. For the last painting step, I will be doing washes. Basically, I will be dirtying up the blaster with a watery paint mixture. I will then wipe away the paint to darken areas and add more tonal variety to the surfaces. Depending on the look you're wanting to achieve, this step will vary from person to person. In my head, I'm really trying to imagine the life that this blaster had, and that's what drives my painting direction. Here I'm adding some brown. Using silver Sharpies and silver paint, I then add highlight scratches and chipping. To make the dark areas really pop, highlighting the edges with silver is a fantastic way to create contrast and give the final look that personal character. The final step would be to add a final spray clear coat, but I'll do that at a later time. These repaints are always a ton of fun, and while it's not a perfect replica or a one-to-one scale model of the real thing, I think we did a pretty good job. And if you want to try it for yourself, depending on how detailed you want to get, these things can be done in a day or even a weekend. It just depends on how much time you really want to spend on it. But I really hope that this YouTube tutorial taught you something, maybe you learned something, found it a little bit entertaining. And if so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube page for future videos. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'm tuning out. I'll see you on the next one. I mean, the blaster itself, honestly, isn't the greatest. It's pretty much a Jolt reskin. Oh, you thought I forgot about the back stock? I think not. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah. And I'm going to show you how to do it, because I believe in you. You can do anything.